You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 222. That's a wrap. Sharing my 2021 feedback loop. If you're a business owner who wants to improve your time management and elevate your productivity so you can maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Before we jump into my personal feedback loop inside my business, I want to make sure that you know that you are invited to join me for my Business Blueprint virtual full-day workshop. In this workshop, you will plan your entire year in a day. It's going to be step by step, and I'm going to be teaching you. You're going to be actually doing the work, and you will leave this workshop with a plan of action in hand, a 2022 blueprint for your business that you simply have to execute on in 2022. Imagine going into 2022 feeling excited because you have a clear plan and how to achieve your goals. Imagine having the clarity of knowing what resources, time, money, people, technology, skills, support you will need to accomplish those big goals. And imagine knowing that you've already scheduled time off, vacations, personal time off for mental and physical health, that you will be able to prioritize yourself because you will plan it out ahead of time. I want to put you back in the driver's seat of your business. And to do that, you need a plan. So join me for this full day Business Blueprint workshop on January 3rd. To learn more and to join us, head on over to amberdelagarza.com/business blueprint. And now, let's get to the straight talk. Hey. So I'm going to take you behind the scenes and share with you my actual notes from a small part of my own business planning. Before you can do business planning and look ahead, you really need to take the time to reflect on where you've been. And one of the tools that I use is a framework called the feedback loop. And I've shared a little bit about this framework in previous episodes, but I thought you would enjoy hearing me utilize this framework and how it actually shows up in my own business. Now, the feedback loop is actually one of the strategies that we will be using in our full day business planning workshop coming up on January 3rd. And we also use this inside Leverage Lab for our CEO strategic planning sessions that we do each quarter. Here is the framework for you. I want you to think of it as a loop. It literally keeps looping, and you can keep asking these questions of yourself, your business, a department in your business. You can ask this about your time, like your schedule. You can really ask these 3 questions around anything that you want to solve for and improve upon. Last week, we just had our full team meeting virtually, and everybody on the team came, and the entire day was actually utilizing this very same framework of a feedback loop. And in my business, we went through and did an overall feedback loop of the business, which I'm going to share with you. But then we went through and got really, really detailed and did this feedback loop with every single offering that I offer. So private coaching, Leverage Lab, speaking, and we asked these 3 questions. And then the second half of the day, we went through all of our marketing strategies, podcasting, blogging, guesting on other people's podcasts, speaking at conferences. You get the idea. All of the strategies that we use to market the business and have visibility, we went through and asked these same 3 questions. And so when you take these 3 questions and you apply it to a specific area of your business, you can even get more detailed. But for today, what I thought I would do is just share the first feedback loop that we did around the whole business. So what is the feedback loop? I bet you're thinking, wait, what is she talking about? Let's break this down. The feedback loop is simple, and this is actually the genius in why the feedback loop works. You ask yourself 3 questions. The first question you're going to ask is, what didn't work? We really need to know what didn't work in our business so that we can improve upon it or stop it. Let it go. It was a strategy that did not serve. You didn't get a return on the investment. And so when you really take the time to answer what didn't work, it will draw out opportunities to either come up with solutions or make a different decision. Question number 2, what did work? And this is really, really important because as we get excited about planning for the new year, sometimes we can just skip right over what did work because we're so excited about the opportunity of what could work. And I really want you to ask yourself what did work before you get to the question of what could work. And the reason is because oftentimes we try different strategies, we do different things in the business, and we don't actually go back to review like, that did work. What would happen if I doubled down on it? What would happen if I put more time, energy, and attention on that strategy that proved to work? Could it really have a bigger impact in the business? And before you get to the third question about what could work, you also need to have an idea about what is your available bandwidth, what's your resources for you and your team. And you can't get there without first identifying what worked and what are you going to recommit to say, okay, so I have identified we're stopping these things, we're continuing these things, and now we have bandwidth for X, Y, and Z, which is the third question. And the third question is, what could work? By asking yourself and your team of what could work, you're getting ideas flowing. You're problem solving for things that you just recently identified as problems in your business. And when you look at what could work, you get a list of opportunities, and then you can determine what do you want to take action on next? What are the best ideas out of the answer to the question of what could work? All right, so let's summarize that. 3 questions. What didn't work, what did work, and what could work. Okay, so let's jump into my very own feedback loop in my business. Number 1, launch methods. We had 3 launches scheduled for 2021. And for those of you that do not have an online business, generally what a launch means is that it's a focused promotion. And you usually have some sort of free event, whether that's a training or a webinar or some other thing. And you invite people to that event and you serve. And then you have an opportunity to share with them an offering that you would like to enroll them in. And for me, we were going to do 3 launches that were just really, really focused on getting in front of new audiences, new people, sharing with them how I can help them through a free event, and then inviting them inside Leverage Lab. The first launch went okay. And when I say okay, I mean it worked in the results, but I didn't enjoy it. I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy how much time it took away from our primary business. It was all hands on deck to do this launch, and it just feels like a very short period of time to get a whole lot of work done behind the scenes that mostly no one would ever see is happening behind the scenes. And so we got done with that in the first week of February. And then I had another one scheduled for May, right before the summer. And it was around April. I looked at the team and I said, nope, we're not doing another launch. Like, we don't need to do it. We're already hitting our goals. I do not want to go through that process again. But we will do another one in September, right after summer. And I ended up with COVID. And so we did not do the September launch, but we did do a couple mini launches in November and December. And when you just generally ask me and the team, like, did it work? I'm going to say no, because I didn't truly enjoy the process behind the scenes. Next, didn't work, paid ads. Man, when I look at what my strategy was for 2021, I decided I was going to go like 2 feet in on paid ads, and I hired a specialist and I paid a lot of money for copy and images and Facebook ads strategist. And because I was like, you know what? I can see it working for so many others. I really, really want to go big and build my email list. And it failed miserably. I had someone working on my business that had a proven track record. And apparently my business was a head scratcher to her. She couldn't figure out why none of my ads were getting traction and I was bleeding money. So after a couple of months, I aborted mission and I immediately realized this is not working. Paid ads did not make it back on the plans for 2022. Something else that didn't work for us is that I did not go to any conferences. And conferences in the past have proven to be a great opportunity to network and meet people and just really grow the business in ways you could never imagine just because of new relationships being built. And by the time we hit 2021, because I also didn't travel in 2020, we did actually see a big difference in different areas of my business for me not going to conferences. Something else that didn't work was me building my email list like I had goals for around my email list were heavily dependent upon Facebook ad strategy working, and that did not work out. Something else that didn't work, and I already alluded to this a little bit, was the heavy sprint that we did at the end of the year. And that heavy sprint was because I made a decision coming back from being out of my business for almost 2 months that we were going to do about 5 months of work in 3 months. And I didn't want to say no to all the plans we had. I reworked the calendar and decided we can do this. Like I came back so optimistic about what we could do. Well, the truth is we nailed it. We did it. And I'm so proud of the team. But again, I'm going to go back to it didn't feel great sprinting for almost 3 months straight. So we will never do that again. And that also ties back to that the launches just didn't feel great being a part of my marketing strategy. Something else that we came up with that didn't work is that I'm going to say we. I don't think anyone on the team had a different opinion than me, but we way underestimated the time and energy it would take to do a complete SOP, standard operating procedures overhaul to the business. We started doing an entire SOP overhaul in January of 2021. And because we hit it hard, and then I decided, okay, we're going to insert some other projects and we're going to slow down the focus of SOPs to where we just keep tricking along with them behind the scenes, but not as full force as we were in January and February. It took us nearly 7 months to finish all the SOPs. And when I tell you that, it was a combination of, yes, each SOP takes quite a while, but there were so many SOPs that had to be created. Like this whole business has been functioning and works, and we had SOPs. I just hadn't wrapped my mind around all the different areas of my business where there was an opportunity to document formal SOPs. Now, I will say I'm glad we did it, but what didn't work was underestimating the time and resources it would take to get it done. And then lastly, what didn't work was my new coworker. So I have a new coworker and her name is Bella. And Bella is young, a little immature, poops in the office. She barks. She jumps up on my shoulders when I'm in meetings. And well, it's my new puppy. And so we got a new puppy this year. And again, I underestimated the distractions that my new coworker would bring because I've always had previous dogs that were mature and just didn't have her vibe, didn't have her personality. So we're going to say that didn't exactly work. It was very disruptive to my work days as the months have continued with my new coworker. Let's dive into what did work. So question number 2, what worked? Well, what worked was that I let go of more than I ever have in my business. I was delegating more and more. Next, the business survived in my absence for nearly 2 months. And if you want to hear more about that time and the takeaways and the lessons about being out of my business for nearly 2 months without any notice, you can head on over to episode 211. Next, what worked is that I absolutely love what I do. I love working with my clients. I love my team members. Everything about my clients and my team and my business felt good. It felt easy. It felt like it was the way it always should have been. So that was definitely something that worked in 2021. We also went without any new hires in 2021. And I'm going to say that that is a huge win of what worked, because that means we have a solid team that is able to handle growth, because we had a tremendous amount of growth this year. And nobody left, which means to me, we had good culture, a good team that liked working here. I definitely have that in the win column of what did work. Something else that we identified worked was that we did a really good job at consistently building relationships with referral partners and networking the best that I could virtually, and really making that a priority on my schedule. Next was that I started working earlier in the mornings. So my son started junior high this year, and he went from starting at 9 a.m. to starting at 7:30, which means I drop him off at 7:10. And starting earlier in the day just works so much better for our schedule as a family, and allowed me to get off at 3 o'clock to pick him up and then really have a lot of family time in the afternoon. And just the shift in the schedule felt really good, and I'm excited to continue that into 2022. Another strategy or decision that we made that I would say worked really well is that we purposely slowed down during the summer. I went into the summer saying, you know what? Everyone is traveling. The vibe is different. Kids are out of school. I've been through many summers in business over the last decade, and I'm going to choose to slow down and do 2 episodes a month. What that allowed me to do was take Fridays off. I took every single Friday off during the summer. And because I was taking one day out of the week, it also needed to mean I had to say no and cut back in other areas of the business. And the place that I decided to cut back was producing 4 episodes a month. And it worked really well. We didn't see download numbers change. People were able to go back and listen to old episodes and get caught up if they were newer to Productivity Straight Talk. It just seemed like it was a win-win. So much so, like I said, when you identify what works, how do you replicate it? And we already have a plan for this next year and how we will replicate that. Something else, again, would be that I was asking for very honest, transparent feedback from my team. I was asking them to solve problems from their experience of being in the business, in their roles every single day. And this was just part of my own growth as a leader, not going into situations assuming or making the assumption that I needed to solve all the problems. And I would ask them, what problems do you see? Like, not only do I not need to solve the problems, but do I even need to see all the problems? And so really asking for that honest, transparent feedback throughout the year. And then again, being really clear that that's what I expected they brought to our team meeting just a couple weeks ago. Another area in which we identified is working is that we're getting incredible feedback from our clients that the coaching and the support our company offers is working. They are getting results. Their lives are being changed. And I think for those of you that have been around for a while here at Productivity Straight Talk, you know that that is literally what fuels me. This is why I do the work that I do, is that I really believe that I can help business owners make an impact in the world. And my job is to support them and to support them in a way that they can live out their dreams and their goals and achieve the results they're looking for. So when we get that feedback, it is just so incredibly valuable to the work that we do here. A couple more things. I really focused on staying in tune with what my body and mind needed this year, really focusing and doubling down on self-care. And I experimented with different ways for self-care. At the beginning of the year, I was experimenting with taking a longer lunch hour and doing a 25-minute cat nap. And I've also experimented with blocking out half days or full days of no appointments and doing work behind the scenes. I really, leaned into acknowledging what I felt that I needed to show up my best without judging it. And that's the key, without judging it, is like, okay, this week, 5 days, 5 long days felt really heavy, but next week, 5 days maybe doesn't feel heavy. So what do I need to restore and to show up my best? So really staying in tune and being an observer of my energy level and how I show up. We actually had another project that worked out really well. We'll put it in the what worked, is that we migrated from Microsoft/Dropbox into Google Docs, Google Drive. And that again was a big operational project behind the scenes that we started earlier in the year. And I am happy with that decision. With regards to tech, we're always like, what about this? This has this feature and this has this feature, and which one's better? And we did have to let go of some features that we liked being in Microsoft environment as well as Dropbox. But the upside was much better for us and the team collaborating through Google Docs and Google Drive. So I'm putting that in the win column. We fully migrated over and we're happy to have that project behind us. And then lastly, on what worked, is that I got an adorable puppy. So I guess what you'll see is that some things can show up in more than one category. And while my new puppy Bella showed up in the what didn't work, it definitely is showing up in what did work. She brings so much love and she's hilarious. She's the most affectionate dog I've ever had in my life. And so she's definitely also going to show up in the what did work column. All right, lastly, let's round this out with what could work. This is where you let your ideas flow. This is where you look at the opposite of what didn't work. This is where you ask yourself if what's possible if you double down on a strategy that you did identify was working. And then brand new ideas. These are all the things that you are going to want to do in your business and that you're probably excited to try and experiment with. So in the what could work for my business is that it could work that I have more time off. And that was a direct result of proving that I could be out of my business for 2 months without preparation and my business still functioned. So now with preparation, and it doesn't need to be 2 months, I'm going to push the envelope and figure out how can I have even more time off while also growing the business and serving my clients. Next, offering an affiliate program. So we realized that we were getting quite a few referrals from clients, referrals from referral partners, and I want to double down on that strategy and I want to reward it. So we're going to create an affiliate program that rewards monetarily those that are making referrals into my business. Next, what could work? And I want you to hear what could work. We never know in our businesses what will work. So it's what could work. Less launches. In fact, no launches. We are not going to do any formal big launches. Now, if I do create a new offering, we will promote that. But what we're going to move into is a more evergreen invitation into the ways to work with me. For example, private coaching and my Leverage Lab coaching program. And so what does that look like with regards to making it more evergreen? We identified that once we put each of the programs in the middle of the feedback loop, and each one will have its own strategy. But for right now, the overall what could work is less launches, more evergreen. And then we wanted to add in and get back to it, is that what could work is me attending more conferences and meeting new people and making additional connections in 2022. We're also going to put in the what could work is getting the word out about the podcast, Productivity Straight Talk. We really, really want a full-blown marketing visibility strategy around that. And so why it's in the general what could work is that in the past, I hadn't focused exclusively on growing the listenership of the podcast. And in 2022, the team and I have decided that we're actually going to focus major time and energy into how to grow the podcast listenership. And that would probably be with multiple strategies. And again, those are the types of things that came out once we put the podcast in the middle of the feedback loop is how do we get specific ideas about what could work to grow the listenership. And then what could work for us in 2022 is that I changed Leverage Lab from a membership, I just did this, into a 12-month program. And this is because I believe that it will provide so much more value and be that much more impactful for members because they're not coming into, nor am I attracting the members that want to just jump in and out or looking for quick results, but really are looking for someone to partner with them to make lasting changes and learn the skill sets that will take their business to the next level. And for me, based on what we experienced this last year in Leverage Lab, that was happening for those that had committed to being in the program for a year, not exactly those that just jumped in for a month or 2 months or in or out. And so because I love to work with people that are ready to do the work and to make the change and they want that support in their business, that's why we are changing the model inside Leverage Lab. So that's under what could work. We also came up with an idea that we may want to do a brand refresh, and we lovingly called it a quarter pivot into how I'm positioned into the market. And the quarter pivot is because it's not a full-on pivot. It's just an ever so slight pivot, and that will come with a whole new brand refresh. Then next would be that we are going to focus more efforts on word of mouth marketing and asking people to share their experience of working with me. We started doing that towards the end of the year and saw great results. And so we wanted to put it in what could work is really focusing on sharing the stories and case studies and examples of people that have worked with me in the past or are currently working with me and the results that they get. And then lastly, under the what could work, I'm going to say that maybe it could work that my new coworker, Bella, gets some top-notch puppy training from an expert because I am about to tap out of being the trainer of my new coworker. And so that's a good business lesson. Sometimes you need to call in help to actually train your team members. And I think it's about time that Bella gets some official training because I'm not thinking I'm doing a great job yet. All right, so that's what could work is we're actually going to be looking into puppy training so that I reduce my distractions and get to just love how adorable she is. All right, so that's my feedback loop. Let's wrap that up. What I went through with you was just overarching answers to 3 questions in my business. What didn't work, what did work, and what could work. And know that this was just to get our ideas flowing as a team. And then we took each area of my business and drilled down to get specific strategies, results, what actually did not work. So that provided more and more clarity around what didn't work, what did work, and what could work. If you want support in utilizing this same strategy, this same framework into your business, and you want to get really, really clear with where you've been, what's working, and where you want to go, then I invite you to join me for my full-day business blueprint workshop. That's going down on January 3rd. So by the time you're listening to this episode, you do not want to wait and check it out, the workshop, and see if it's a fit for you. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/business blueprint. Thank you so much for tuning into Productivity Straight Talk. I've really loved that you have listened to this episode and that I got to share some behind the scenes. I hope that you have found it valuable to see the feedback loop in action and to see how simple but powerful it could be to get some more clarity in your business. And I hope you take action. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So sit down with yourself, have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, and ask yourself these 3 questions in your business and see what comes up for you. And if you want additional help and you want to really flesh this out with a full action plan behind it for 2022, then join us for our full-day virtual business planning workshop. The link to learn more and join us will be in the show notes. So that's my straight talk for today. Until next time, have a productive week.